Welcome to MB Shoe Doc, where we explore the world of quality dress shoes for men. We will cover the art of patina and shine, learn to care for our shoes, review the brands that you love, and introduce brands that you've never heard of. All right, another Cornwallis project. So this is obviously a walnut, Allen Edmonds Cornwallis, in pretty good shape. But we are going to go with a custom blue patina. So I think you know the drill by now if you've seen any of my restorations in my channel. Obviously, I'm going to start by taking the shoelaces out. Next step is to put in some snug fitting shoe trees. Now I'm using these that have a little bit of a blue stain to them already. I used these on my previous blue patina project, ended up getting some dye on them, so they're perfect for this. So that's going to help eliminate some of the creasing a little bit. It gives me a firmer foundation to kind of push against while stripping. And then we're going to get to work with some acetone. My always impressive dishwashing gloves. A little bit of acetone on a cotton ball. I always like working on Allen Edmonds walnut leather. Tends to strip pretty quickly, pretty easily. It's just really a fantastic foundation for patina. So for any of you out there looking at trying your first project, I do recommend finding a Allen Edmonds in walnut on eBay, something like that. If you find a good deal on one, 40, 50 bucks, that's a great place to start. Once it gets pretty saturated with some of that finish coming off, flip it over, go one more round with it, and then this one will be done. I'll get a new cotton ball. Just to show you the difference, stripped here, not stripped here. So I'm going to get this one stripped to match this, and then we can start adding some color. So something that I've done here is I took a little piece of crust leather and tried out a few different dyes just to kind of see how it would look. I've done this on paper before, but now that I have some pieces of crust leather, I'm doing that instead. So what I'm looking at is some of these. This is Fibing's Royal Blue of their Pro Dye. It looks too green. I don't really like that color. This Angelus navy blue and suede, same thing. These kind of look similar. It looks too greenish. The Fibing's light and navy blue is very, very true blue. And the Angelus navy blue, I like that. So really I'm looking at, I may do a light coat of this Fibing's turquoise just to try to get some base coat on here. And then I'm probably going to go light blue, navy blue, and possibly using this for a little bit of burnishing too. So I'm going to start with that turquoise. It is likely to look kind of green on this, but it just gives it a nice, very light coat, light coloration, and I think the light blue will go better on top of that versus light blue on top of this. So we're going to give that a try. I almost never use these I guess they're little wool daubers that come with the dye, but in this case I am going to use this for this base coat, this light coat here. Again, this is Fibing's turquoise, and I expect that this is going to go on looking somewhat greenish. And that is okay. We're going to go with that 5-inch light blue on top of this. And as I expected, it does come out looking fairly green. I thought it would, doesn't surprise me at all. What I'm going to do is let this sit. I'll go back over it with the light blue next. See what that does. Sometimes I'll do a layer like this, actually strip it again, instead of having a that kind of yellow tannish base. It'll leave me a little bit lighter base to start with. And I'm not really trying to do a super even coat. I don't mind having the little bit of streakiness to it. This is after the base coat of the turquoise. Now it is fairly green. I figured that it would be. I pretty much knew that it would be. But the hope is that going with the light blue on top of this will not end up being green. Doing this light blue on top of the stripped tan shoe does tend to end up kind of greenish. So I go with the that light turquoise first. And hopefully this will be enough to color it. The 5-inch light blue, it does go on fairly dark. It's almost a navy blue when you first put it on here. Now I'll see what it looks like when it lightens up. It'll be a little bit lighter, but it is a fairly dark blue, especially compared to the turquoise, which is really light. Now they've sat overnight with the dye, making sure it's all soaked in as much as it will, using Big 4 conditioning lotion. I'm going to wipe these down. It'll remove, you can see that kind of metallic like sheen on the top surface of the leather. That's all the unabsorbed dye. So this will remove that and we'll get a better feel for what the color is. You can see how this looks almost purple. It's got this metallic kind of sheen to it, and then this is what it really looks like after you wipe it off. So again, it's kind of hard to tell the color until you do this step. Alright, so after these have been conditioned, I'll give them a quick brushing here. Looking pretty good and pretty evenly colored. So now really looking at adding some burnishing, some low lights here. So I'm going to use the Angelus navy blue. So this one here. So looking at the little color sheet I made, it's this one right here. The Saphir works pretty well. It just has a little bit more of a purple look to the tone. I really don't want that. So going with the Angelus here, and just going to be adding a little bit of burnished look. So typically I'll add the navy blue like this and carry it up a little ways up the toe, and then I will go back and do black behind it and not go up quite as far with the black. Added the darker burnishing. You can see it leaves that same kind of metallic, almost purplish look to it. So once again, using the Bic 4, and I'm going to wipe these off and see what the color really looks like underneath there. So I didn't do it over the entire shoe with the dye, just along the broguing and kind of along the base here. But when I'm using the conditioner, I'm just going to go over the entire thing. And hopefully you can look, and I can see the difference pretty clearly. Hopefully you can on camera here, but this one has had that kind of sheen wiped off, and so much better burnished look compared to this one here, which still has that sheen. So we'll get them both wiped off, and then I'm probably going to darken up a little bit further with black. Maybe mixed with a little bit of navy, but I may just go pure black on these. What I ended up with is actually, I did a 50-50 mix of the black and the navy blue. The reason is that black sometimes can have kind of a greenish hue or a different hue to it. It's not that it would totally recolor the leather, but I just didn't want it to have any kind of a different kind of a tint to it, and so mixing it with the navy would keep it a little bit more in the same color family, I guess. I'm really going to be going over the same areas again. Just want to darken up the burnishing further. The inner lining of these things is always a tricky part. What I do is use this really fine tipped brush and just kind of carefully go over that. It's almost impossible not to get a little bit of dye kind of soaking into the lining in a few little spots, but you know, I do the best I can trying to keep it clean. I've added some extra black burnishing on the toes along the broguing, and really pretty happy overall with the coloration here. Hard to believe that these were tan to begin with. I'm going to use a little bit of navy blue cream polish here on these. Kind of softens the edges where that burnishing is. smooths things out just a little bit, and it tends to help create a better shine in the end too. So we'll just kind of do one round, maybe two, over the entire shoe here. And if there are any random areas with some unabsorbed dye, that will help to remove that from the surface too. I don't think at this point, as much as I've conditioned these, that there is going to be any of that. Let that sit for a little bit. Brush them off, and then we'll be looking to add some high shine to these. These have sat for a few minutes. Now I'm just going to brush them off. And already developing a nice soft shine, I'll call it. Put a little bit of higher shine on the heel and toe, but it's looking pretty good already. And I went ahead and removed the, I always put tape in here, protect the lining from getting dye on it. The dye can go through the eyelets, the holes in the eyelets there, and stain the lining. So I always try to put some like painter's tape on the inside there. Sphere Mirror Gloss in neutral. Get a little bit and apply it just by hand here. And really I'll get a few layers like this to build up a nice base coat. And then we'll switch to a cloth to get the mirror shine. So real lightly went over the entire shoe. Now we're going to work on that high shine on the toe. So get a little drop of water, a little bit of that neutral mirror gloss, and just buffing here. I'll point out, there's a few creases along here, so I don't want to carry that mirror shine up into or beyond the creases. So really just want to keep that high shine right on the toe tip. Not go too far with it. It's easy to get a little carried away, and I've done it myself, and go too high up on the shoe, and it turns into a mess. First few steps, when you wear them, it'll crack that, and then it looks pretty ugly, and you got to redo it. Towards the end, I switched over to Carmina wax in neutral. And literally just tapping it on here. Get a single drop of water. And very, very light pressure here. Barely even touching the surface, just letting the cloth glide over it. And I find that this gives even a smoother shine at the very end than pure mirror gloss alone. A tiny bit more work on the heel there. Just using the little bit that's left on this cloth I don't take the heel quite as far as I do on the toe. I don't really go for a full mirror. It's got a pretty high shine on it. Certainly get some reflection off of that. So really, I feel like we're just about done here. I'm going to lace these up. I might do a few tiny bit of finishing touches on the toes. I'll kind of inspect those, make sure I don't miss anything, but I think we're just about there. And we are completed here. Got them laced up with the bar lacing and the berluti knot. I'll do a video on that sometime soon here as well, showing you how to do that for anyone that's interested. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way these turned out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this custom patina. I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Send it to anyone that you think might be interested in seeing how the process is done here. Appreciate your support. See you on the next one.